everybody, this is Max Miller, otherwise known as the voice of the Radical Center. And as you can tell by my heavy Texas accent, I am an American. And I say I'm the voice of the Radical Center because I like to believe people on the left and people on the right have good ideas. And it's the people in D.C. who supposedly are against government who never seem to leave.
America may have gained a new member of the Supreme Court, but a part of our nation's soul was lost during this toxic process. The zero-sum game environment we are in today, where many are focused on winning at all costs instead of what's best for our country, must end if we ever wish to begin healing these partisan divisions, tackling some of the most serious problems facing our nation.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's an objectively true statement.
It is.
Why is no one else saying that?
Would it be nice if Trump had said it? But
it's still all the Democrats' fault.
Oh my God! Please, yes, exactly. Okay. Well, we're going to get Mr. Abramoff on now. Jack, are you there, mate? Are you? Hello.
I am.
Hey, so you're probably Jack. This is Max Miller, otherwise known as the voice of the Radical Center, and as you can tell, I am an American. I just want to make it clear that you probably disagree with everything that Kasich just said, but I don't mean to put words in your with what Mike Devine just said. About Republicans and Democrats. But we do have a fellow in the studio here with us, John. Do you want to say?
Hey, Jack, how you doing?
John, how are you?
Oh, I'm just doing great, man. I'm loving the fact that Kavanaugh has been confirmed.
Oh, my God.
I have a couple quick questions for you. You're involved right now in a lot of anti-corruption activities since your unfortunate incarceration, which we won't discuss.
So he brings it up.
What's going on with you right now? What are you working on? Anything with Trump? Tell us about yourself.
No, I'm not very, frankly, I'm not at all involved with the administration. I think a lot of what they're doing is great, but I'm not personally involved and haven't been, obviously, from the beginning. In terms of getting involved in political campaigns or anything like that. I don't do that anymore. But I'm working, the people in the reform community continue to want to try to find a way to reform some of the campaign giving advantages the lobbyists have and things like that. But I'm not very optimistic that we're ever going to come to a solution to this, because at the end of the day, the people who make the decision are the people who benefit from all the goodies, and the people who care about it, the American people, aren't willing to throw them out.
So let me ask you, actually, this is, sorry, Jack, this is Max. So just a quick question for you. Actually, I have to tell you, you just surprised me. I'm really kind of shocked. So just because you actually sound like me on that one, without the cute accent, I might add. But seriously, what you made it sound like, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but you've had experience in this. You made it sound like and I'm paraphrasing what you said, you believe there's too much money in politics and the people who actually really don't care about the average person are the ones who are benefiting. Am I misreading what you just said?
No, a little bit. First of all, I'm not making a judgment as to whether there's too much or too little or just the right amount of money in politics. My concern is the kind of money that's in politics.
Okay.
And particularly the kind of money when somebody who is advocating a position in front of the federal government or going to a public servant and trying to get some action, positive or negative.
Like dark money, for example?
Well, dark or light money. I'm not just talking about dark money. I'm talking about any money that is coming from somebody who is either an advocate for a position or the lobbyist hired by that person or company or union who wants those things. Using money tilts the playing field, and it's legal. And that's the problem. And
so you are saying there's too much. You are saying there's too much money.
No. I'm not. If there were people out there who are, I'm not saying there's too much money. There may be too little money in politics, by the way, but it's the wrong kind of money. In other words, if somebody is out there, and there are, by the way, people who give money who don't want anything back. They don't want to go and say, here's $1,000 now. Can you please give me a tax cut or something like that? There are a lot of people like that.
You've described it before. Sorry to chime in, Jack, but you've described this before eloquently, I might add, as legalized bribery, and you say it still exists today. Do you think we saw any of that in the Kavanaugh hearings, or are you more general in what you're saying with that? Well,
I think what we saw in the Kavanaugh hearings is a different problem, a different sort of aspect of why Washington is loathed by the country. But I don't think it really was part of that. I didn't see any of it, at least. I didn't see any kind of corporate or union or individual advocates who wanted to push it one way or the other. Yeah, sure. People might think Kavanaugh will come out in certain ways, and they're therefore funding some of the ads, maybe. That's possible. But my take would be that if you're If you're asking for something from a federal government, let's just say, you should not be allowed to give money into a federal race, and that includes through a super PAC. That is a position.
Well, that makes so much sense that it'll never become law, probably. Right?
Exactly. Unfortunately, that is true because the American people are just not willing, frankly, to break the eggs to make that omelet.
So do you think that applies to both parties, I presume, right? Republican and Democrat?
Yes, absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, okay, that's great. See, I didn't think I was going to like you, Jack, but I do already because I'd already warned these two guys in the room here that this interview might get hard. But actually, I'm agreeing with you, which is kind of a shock to me. So when you look at the Republicans and Democrats today versus in your day when you were in power and working with Tom DeLay and others, do you think it's got worse or it's got better?
I think it always stays the same.
Oh, that's really depressing.
People, and yes, it is. Yes. And by the way, when I say stays the same, I don't just mean from the time I was active. Unfortunately, this is a long-standing tradition in American politics, and it goes back several hundred years probably, or at least certainly 100 years, that money talks in American politics. And that people giving money and people getting their way through giving money, unfortunately, tilts the playing field. And it's something that is endemic to the system. And it's not something, by the way, that most people in the system, inside the Beltway, feel is a problem in any way.
Jack, what was the hotel in D.C.? What was the hotel in D.C., Jack, where lobbying started? Wasn't it under Grant, President Grant?
You go ahead. The Willard Hotel.
That's right.
So that's one of the sort of myths of the lobbying world. By the way, right. Yeah, the word lobbying probably came from the British system.
You can blame. Yeah, you know what? Actually, that's right, Jack. Blame the Brits. That's all. It's all our fault. I did give these guys last week. I gave you guys coffee mugs.
You did.
With a British flag and American flag on it.
And thankfully it was worth less than $20, so I didn't have to report it.
You didn't have to declare it.
And,
actually, there's another coffee mug we should send one to Jack. It's called Make America Great Britain Again, which actually I thought was really very, very good, actually.
We're already almost there.
Yeah.
Hey, Jack, this is Ron Meyer.
Ron,
I spent 28 years in government service, and I know the joint ethics regulation very well. So I mean, how do we bring ethics and morals and transparency, and what laws do you recommend to improve the money flow? How do we fix it?
Yeah, how do we fix it?
Well, I mean, the solution is very simple, but it's almost impossible to get to politically. The solution is to the degree that it's constitutionally acceptable, and it's not apparently, because we're working on this, the constitutional lawyers who work with us say that you can't actually bar somebody from giving money if they are a lobbyist or if they're a special interest or something like that.
And that's a First Amendment claim?
It's pretty much a First Amendment claim,
okay.
But you can reduce that amount, though, down to something that's insignificant, that somewhere there's some gray area, some de minimis amount where they wouldn't have the kind of sway they had. Because if a lobbyist was giving you $100, frankly, that's not really going to impact you as a member of Congress. But if a lobbyist is bundling $1 million for you, they're certainly going to have a tremendous impact on you. So number one is get rid of that.
Yeah. So are you actually? Sorry, Tom. Sorry, Jack. You just said something else though a few seconds ago, which ties into that. I just wanted to get to that. I wrote it down before I forget, because of my ADD. And that was that you said the people in D.C. aren't interested in fixing the problem. That's what you said, right? And
yes.
I think what you said was they're not even aware it's a problem. I think those are your exact words.
I think that they do not feel. And by the way, this was true for me in that system. I didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong. Forget about illegal.
Okay.
Because 99% of the things I did weren't illegal. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. And I think there was anything wrong with the system whereby people who were advocating would come and arrange fundraisers and buy dinner and take sporting events and things like that. I didn't have a sense that was wrong. And
it was almost like a custom.
That's the way, quote, business is done in Washington, end quote. And for the most part, that's what people feel up there. They're not bad people, by the way. You're not going to have 535 House and Senate bad people. How could you possibly have that?
Yeah.
It's just become cultural.
90% of them, it is the culture of the place, and that's the problem. Now, by the way, having said that, outside of the Beltway, the entirety, it seems, of America disdains that system. But yet somehow the's no electoral.
So why is that not getting through? Because the example I was shocked actually. I don't know if you saw this. So Jeff Flake was interviewed on CNN, on CBS 60 Minutes with his BFF from the Democrat side. I forget which one it was. The bald guy.
Coons or something?
Yeah. And the interviewer asked him, this is the trouble, I will say this, you guys have heard me moan about this before, so I'm just going to say it one more time. American TV interviewers are terrible.
Yes,
they are terrible. So this guy asked the question of this politician, Jeff Flake, and said, could you have stood up and asked for a reinvestigation by the FBI if you were still running for office? And Jeff Flake shocked me by saying, no, I couldn't have. And I wanted the follow-up the reporter to ask the question, why not? Are you that cowardly? Could you not do it?
A lot of flaky Republicans are shocking us this week. Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham. Don't get me started on him. So, Jack, is that what it is? These people, what is it that's the attraction? I know Flake's resigning, he's leaving, but what is the attraction for these people in D.C.? They don't make a lot of money, right? I mean, the average pay is only $180,000 a year. They're not even 5%.
Officially, they don't.
Right. So, Jack, what is the attraction? Why do these people who always complain about government never leave? They're still there.
Well, it's not, by the way, it's not just the people who always complain about government who never leave. No one leaves Washington.
Yeah.
Okay, and the reason no one leaves Washington is the kind of people who come to Washington are usually very bright, very aggressive, and they're seeking power. They're not seeking money necessarily.
Yep.
Okay, they just want enough money to maintain their facade of power and all the rest. If they really wanted money, they go to New York or somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
They want power, and that's why they're there. And by the way, it doesn't just include the people who complain about the size of government. It includes every one of them.
Okay.
Nancy Pelosi, she hasn't left.
I agree. We could talk about that in just a minute.
Term limits.
Hang on for 1 second there, Jack. We've got to take a quick break. This is Max Miller, voice of the Radical Center, and I'll be right back.